listening to Discussion with Miss Jenkins live
on HOP101.net,
the source for new information and knowledge.
You are listening to Discussion with Ms. Jenkins live on HOP101.net. We are going to get the conversation started today. A very interesting topic that definitely needs to be addressed. I know that a lot of brothers are out there and a lot of sisters are out there feeling the pressure with not being able to find a job. The black unemployment rate is consistently twice that of whites, and in many instances, your criminal record keeps you unemployed. And today, I have a very special guest who's going to get this conversation started with me today. And I'd like to introduce everybody to Ox the Mogul. Hi, Ox the Mogul.
What up, what up?
What up? How you doing?
You know what? I'm cooling, man. Right now, man, I'm reporting live, man, for probably like the grimiest hood in NJ right now, man. I'm all right. I'm positive. I'm blessed. And just probably, I'm just trying to be productive, positive, man. Just keep a positive view on things.
And I appreciate you saying being productive and being positive, because in so many instances, the perception of African American males is that you're not being productive, you're not doing anything constructive with your lives. And I think that today's discussion really is going to shed some light on those perceptions and the portrayal of the black male in America. One of the things I wanted to get the conversation started about is that I know you're in the hip-hop industry. And I know that industry, hip-hop, gets a lot of press, sometimes maybe perhaps a bad influence on our youth and in the community, promoting violence and things of that nature. What is your take as far as the black man's role in the hip-hop industry?
I mean, the black man's role in the hip-hop industry is the same role that the black man plays on the world. We are the originators of this, you know what I'm saying? So it's like we play a very important role in the demographics, unfortunately, because we are the originators of this and we are the creators, you know what I'm saying, of what is made. What happens is we have a high plateau that we must reach. You know what I'm saying? And there's other people looking to take you down. You know what I mean? And because you know this, you have to pretty much, gotta stay on your P's and Q's. It's cold out in these streets, man. So you just gotta know how to move. And honestly, with this hip hop, this is something right here. Before there was money, it was about talent and the love for the art. You know what I'm saying? And,
yeah.
And these artists have to understand that in order to see longevity in an art like this, you know what I mean? There's got to be some type of love towards it. You know what I'm saying? Because this is an art and a culture that's built off of what you feel. That's why that beat that you play in the beginning of your shows is so dope. You know what I'm saying? Because you gotta, if I can't feel what you feel, how you gonna feel what I feel?
Right.
And if we ain't all feeling a certain type of way about something, then there's a difference in how people is feeling it. And, if nobody's not feeling nothing, or people are feeling different things and feeling things differently, you know what I'm saying, everybody's not on the same page. The black man is very important, man, you know what I'm saying, for this part. So, and it's because of us that it went universal. Now you got hip-hop in all types of languages, man. There's over a hundred of languages that I get to my email of different types of hip hop from all across the world.
And see, the reason why I thought it was so important to touch on hip hop as far as our topic is today is because I know that a lot of African Americans in various communities unfortunately have gotten caught up in the legal system. And in some instances, they have gotten caught up in the legal system just sometimes just being in the wrong place at the wrong time or being in association with the wrong company. And a lot of these things happen when you're in your teenage years. And then next thing you know, you're being charged as an adult, depending on how severe the crime is. And I just want to ask you, is hip hop an avenue for brothers who don't have an opportunity to go into the workforce for like a regular job, for a regular career opportunity? Is hip hop an avenue that brothers can take to alleviate the stressors and the pressures of not being able to get a job just because of discrimination of your previous record? Is hip hop a solution to encourage brothers to become their own boss? Do you think that could be an effective role for hip hop?
Yeah, there's a lot of cats out here, they use hip hop as an escape. So they want to make songs about how much money they getting in the street and how many women they doing illegal acts with and stuff like that to get to each other. But the thing about it is that, hip hop was placed here for one reason and one reason only. And so that the MC, the master of ceremony, could get their message across to the crowd that the message pertains to. And from that right there, it branched off to a billion different things. You got the dancing, you got the b-boy. You know what I'm saying? And then of course, you know what I mean, 2 turntables and the mic. You gotta have the DJ. You know what I'm saying? Because without the DJ, you know what I mean, you need the beat. Who's gonna put the beat on? You need the DJ. The DJ is gonna make you dance and gonna make you spit. And then of course, you know what I'm saying, it's an art. You know what I mean? And
it's an art.
A lot of people they fail to realize, like, even though a person who MCs, that right there is poetry. You know what I mean? Poetry of life. And then of course, like with the beats, you know what I mean? The African rhythms and stuff like that, the drums, you know what I mean? Taking you back to the motherland. But we can't forget about the art. And a lot of MCs, at one point in time, they used to draw. And I'm the type of person, since I was 3 or 4 years old, I love to draw, I love to sketch, I love to paint. So, when you add that graffiti, you know what I'm saying, that other, you know what I mean, element, you know what I mean? So you got the graffiti, you got the DJ, you got the b-boy, and then of course, you got the MC. And with those 4 elements right there, you know what I'm saying? Yes, if a person understands that, they can overstand anything. And why not? You could utilize it to make you money, but anything that will make you millions and millions of dollars, you have to attain knowledge to that. You got to have full understanding of that.
So,
but yes, absolutely. There's a lot of obstacles. Just to continue answering your question, there's a lot of obstacles, man. Like, you know what I'm saying, the demographics of black men out here, that is hard for them to get jobs and stuff like that. It's true. You know what I mean? Because there's colleges out here, the universities out here that are protesting for their own students. And for brothers that's having a problem out there, just because they're realizing that about 60% of companies are actually using just the fact that you committed a crime 13, 14, 20 years ago as a way just to discriminate you from employment. It doesn't matter how much you can do for that company, how much experience you got, what you can even offer to this company. You can offer this company something that can keep this company around for 1,000 years. They don't care, because at the end of the day, they want to judge you on something that you might not have even had control over. How you know what I'm saying, somebody wasn't trying to run up on your moms or something? You know what I mean? You had to put 2 caps in them. You know what I mean? Like, there's people who are in real situations, you know what I mean, in the street, and you got people that's in real situations in the corporate world, man. You know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, we all human, you know what I mean? And we need to start acting like it. People need to get that universal unity going, and people need to just get to that point and just say, look, here's a brother right here. Let's give people an opportunity, and people need to stop judging, because people are prejudging people. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely. And
you know what I'm saying? We have to look past the exterior for a minute. You know what I'm saying? And we have to jumpstart this economy, because there's a lot of people out there, you know what I mean, that's not making the money that they could be making, and they're not getting the job training that they deserve to get, because there's just anything and everything, all types of barriers and roadblocks for these cats, you know what I'm saying, to where they can't get to that next level in their life, and it's not right, because a lot of these brothers that's held back, they excel in a lot of other ways, and unfortunately one of those ways is going out to the block, you know what I mean, and selling anything imaginable, just to make some bread to feed their family. And I always lived like this. My family always told me, it's not what you do, it's how you do it, man. So that's why I don't judge nobody, man, because everybody's situation is different strokes, different strokes, man.
And I agree with you, Ox. Everybody's situation is definitely different. It's just that the perception of the black male in communities is such a disconnect. And when we see the imagery on TV on what the black man is representing, do you not think that hip-hop in some way has some type of accountability for the influence that it projects on the youth? I mean, if a young child is out there and they get in trouble for something at the age of 14, and then it jeopardizes them in the future at the age of 30 from getting a suitable a job, what influence do you think, or what responsibility do you think we have as a community as well as artists in the industry?
Well, it's not hip-hop. People always choose to ask the question, like, why, does hip-hop, make other people act a certain type of way, like the youth and teenagers? I'll be honest with you. It's not hip-hop. You know what I mean? It's that child's perception of life. Let me ask you a question. You know what I'm saying? When people start blaming hip-hop, I'm not trying to blame anybody, but half these kids that we're blaming, or the half the kids that hip-hop is blamed for actually following a lot of the trends set in a lot of the famous songs that have been placed on the radio or into the media or mainstream market. And don't get me wrong, a lot of them songs is garbage, and that's why we need to change the airwaves. We need better quality music, because what you're pumping into your kids right now is our future.
Exactly.
So if you pump that garbage into them, we're going to get that garbage back, and we're not going to be happy what we see in another 20 years.
And this
we're destroying our community, and we need to stop it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
And this
what
is
we need to do is we need to filter this music, and we need to make a change. We need to take a stand right now, man. Because if you don't stand right now, you're going to fall for anything.
Well, it's not blaming hip hop, but it's making an alliance with hip hop as far as the black community is concerned and the role of the black male. It's not definitely. It's not. I'm not taking a position to blame hip hop, but I want to make certain that we have a relationship with hip hop where hip hop identifies itself as an entertainment entity. It's a business. Hip hop is a business, and even though the rappers are up there and they're saying, look at me, I'm a man because I shot somebody, or look at me, I'm a man because I robbed somebody, they still have to come out and say, you know what, this is entertainment. This is no different than a Western or an action-packed film movie. They have to be accountable and project that to their audience, the listeners, which the majority is a high percentage of the youth. Because when those young kids, and it's not just hip hop either, it's the parents. The parents are accountable too for their children. But we got to understand that this is a vicious cycle of manufacturing in this country, of the demise of black people on all levels. Now,
I'll tell you straight up. Like, you know, we have to ask ourselves, why is some of this, why is there a lot of this vulgarity in some of the music today? You got to think about it. You know what I mean? Look at the history of this country. You know what I'm saying? Look at the anger that has been brought upon a lot of the black people. You know what I mean? And you know, over generations and generations. But then let's think about this. The best way you could touch the youth, okay? And I was thinking about this while you were talking. Why not, if hip-hop is really concerned with this, because honestly, it's a little bit deeper than what people think. It's the capitalists. The capitalists is what's controlling the garbage that's getting pumped into your brains. Because these capitalists have the dollars to control the airwaves and control the music that's being played. And there's secret societies, man. You know what I mean? That y'all don't know about, that's running things when you're sleeping that you couldn't even possibly imagine. You got all these crazy things going on in the industry that people don't calculate that into the equation. But with these kids out here, yeah, hip-hop, a lot of the artists need to throw forums, you know what I'm saying, and invite some of the parents, invite some of the people out in the community. You know what I'm saying? Do more things for the community. You know what I mean? Be in touch with the community. You know, it's good to be a superstar and all that, but don't be too far where you can't be touched. Because at the end of the day, while you're trying to protect yourself because you don't want to be robbed or you don't want to be hurt, you know what I mean? There's people out here that won't even lay a finger on you, you know what I mean, if you come down off your bubble. Straight up. You know what I mean? So if we're going to say we identify with our fans and stuff like that, and make music where we're telling them, oh yeah, we identify with you, we feel you, how much do you really feel us? But you know what I'm saying? But there's a lot of people out here in the streets struggling.
It's a lot of people. It's a lot of people in the streets that are struggling, but they also have the hopes of becoming a rapper and getting into the industry because they can't find a job. Like, I watch some of these videos and I'm looking at guys that are like 40 and 50 years old with their pants hanging down, sagging, looking to become an aspiring hip-hop artist. Now, I'm not certain if that could be just maybe being caught up in a time warp or maybe perhaps some type of mental illness, or just maybe just a situation where they're just hopeful to fulfill a dream that they may have. But the role of hip-hop has a responsibility. It has a responsibility in so many ways as far as how we look at the industry and how it affects our communities. Now, when we're looking at situations in the internal community besides hip-hop, I mean, there's a lot of true stories on brothers going out there and honestly filling out applications to get a job, and they get turned down and they get told no because they were honest and they filled out, yes, that I've been convicted of a crime. If a brother goes and applies for a job and the brother fills out, no, I've never been convicted of a crime, and then they get that job, it's obvious that they've been, targeted, and it's obvious that they've been discriminated against.
I'll be honest with you. Every time I go in for a job, I'm like, no.
You do?
Every time. You know why? Because at the end of the day, they're gonna have to catch me running. I'm not gonna put yes so that they can be like, oh, okay. Well, and they start acting fake and stuff like that. But in the back of their mind, they think you're gonna jump over the desk just because you got a prior and choke them out. I'm not with that. Don't judge me for something that happened a long time ago. And just because you see something on paper, don't define an individual. You know what I'm saying? Because like I said in the beginning of this interview, hey, it's not what you do, it's how you do it. And, some people get stuck in tight situations where you would never, ever understand unless you was there to see it with your own eyes. I'm telling you. The streets is talking. They talk a lot. You know what I'm saying? But you can't listen to anything that ain't tangible. You can't.
So, Ox the Mogul, why do you feel that people scrutinize so toughly regarding the background checks?
Oh, it's simple. You know, I mean, I've had a lot of views on that. You know, one of them, I know this is a very biased view, but I think it's just the divide and conquer on the black man. You know what I mean? Get him out of here. You know what I'm saying? Like, for real. Because let's be honest, man. Nobody wants to deal with a black person with an attitude on the workforce. They don't.
We'll
If you
see.
can eliminate them, why not? You know what I'm saying? And one of the best ways to eliminate somebody with a bad attitude is by looking at things that could definitely define a bad attitude, like a prior record, or seeing certain things like in their nature or their character, as far as like their literature on their resume, or checking, you know, they credit. Checking, you know, there's a lot of ways that a lot of people, man, they want to divide and conquer, man. They want to get you out of here. They do.
Well, one of the things I know that is important for background checks is to protect your customers, to protect your employees. So I know that it's really important to do background checks just to even have an idea of the mental compass that somebody might have when they encounter, you know, a workplace. So background checks is certainly important. I just think that the way they're being used, in a way on the back end to discriminate, I think that that's unconscionable. I think it's unfair. Some instances, you know, with the background checks is important because maybe these individuals might be working around children and you want to ensure that you're not hiring a sexual predator. Maybe you want to make sure that if you're in a nursing home environment that somebody's not going to be choking the patients because they have, you know, anger management problems, or somebody who might be a fire starter and they're working in a nuclear plant. So you want to just make certain that these employers are doing background checks to ensure that people are safe. But at the same time, it's like a double-edged sword. They use it to hinder good qualified people that could really do the job and want to do the job and that need the job back from getting the job just due to their past prior convictions that are like 15 years old, that are like 20 years old.
Or the charges that don't hold no weight.
Overcharges that most likely probably don't even hold any weight.
Word up.
You know, so I just think that in every arena where the black male exists and where they have a sense of stability and empowerment, I think that it's very imperative that the hip hop community join in, because look at the significant amount of income that's generated annually, just daily, in the hip hop arena. I feel as though some way it can be some type of alliance where, or an outreach program, because I'm not aware of any that exists right now, where it can encourage aspiring artists who are males who are looking to get in the industry to make a difference in their communities and in their situation, just because in the regular lifestyle they can't have that opportunity due to being rejected of getting work. Like right now, 92% of employers are running background checks, you know, and at the end of the day, this is something that is a requirement. This is something that you know, legislator has put out there to ensure that they follow these type of protocols. But I think that lawmakers just use this as a cover up, because the fact remains, when I look at the statistics, right now, African Americans and Latinos have twice the amount of convictions than whites. 34% right now. And this study is an old study. This study was done in 2003, and I had actually acquired this report from The Nation. It's The Nation reported this, and I do have recent data for 2014, but this was just a report. Back then, in 2003, a study on criminal records and how they tested individuals during the hiring process. And it actually showed that 34% of whites had no record. 17% of whites had a record, as opposed to the blacks that had records was 14% that had no record and 5% with a record. But you got to understand that there's more white people, right, that actually had higher percentages in crimes than African Americans, but they were still able to get a job. What do you feel about that? That a white person can actually have a higher there's a higher percentage in criminal ratings for whites than there actually is for blacks. Now, this was in 2003. That might have been subject to change. But just imagine that even with those type of statistics, that this is something that's going on. I know that you have a criminal record, but you're going to get the job just because of the color of your skin.
Absolutely. Well, the thing about it is, too, is like, as a brother myself, we also have to smarten up. We have to be brighter, and not meaning, that being brighter meaning, the color of our skin, but be brighter as far as, because we don't have to change that, but be brighter as far as, instead of lightening up your skin, open your mind a little. Lighten up your mind a little. A lot of times what we do is when we go into the workplace, we go into the workplace, and what we do is we bring the hood into the workplace. You know what I'm saying? We have to stimulate the mental. We have to change our mentality, because even though, your pockets might be broke, temporarily, being broke is not something that's mandatory. That's not something that's permanent. You know what I'm saying? Being broke, honestly, is a mentality. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, having a broke mindset, yeah.
You'll stay broke. You'll stay broke. You know what I'm saying? Until you change your mentality. And when you change your mentality, you will do better. To get successful, you have to change your mentality. And for a lot of people, the hardest part is not actually getting to that point of being successful, because if you are a star and if you are, if this is something that you're definitely you're gonna be up for, yeah, then you're gonna be successful. But the thing about it is that Black people, we have to be brighter. We have to go out into the workforce. We have to be ambitious. We got to be tenacious. We have to let our light shine, and let them know our potentials. Let them know that we're worth being in the workforce. Because I'll be honest with you, there's a lot of Spanish people coming into this country, and the thing about it is that I am a person who loves everybody in this universe. But if we're talking about African Americans in this country, then let's talk about you, and let's talk about how on the food chain we're constantly falling to other nationalities because we're not going out here and using our full potential. Instead of applying ourselves and getting more education, we'd rather, apply ourselves and get weed and get higher elevation. And that right there is something that's going to hold us back. You know what I mean? And instead of trying to reach another level, you know what I mean? A lot of Black people have spoken crack and shaking hands with the devil. And that right there, people, what they have to do is they have to have faith. And that faith right there, depending on what type of knowledge you have and how much you read books and stuff like that, you will have faith in what you choose. And I don't judge anybody on what people believe, because everybody has that entitlement to believe in what you believe in. But I truly believe that if you want to make it somewhere, my brothers and sisters, you will not make it anywhere unless you have faith in something. You have to. You have to have some type of faith in a higher power, or whether it be yourself.
And that's why I think it was important to have this discussion and get the conversation started, because behind the scenes, on Discussion with Miss Jenkins, we have a lot of shows. We have had a lot of discussions about things going on in the community, the vulnerability of a community without the black man as the head, being visible. And I have a lot of individuals that are in the hip hop community, as up and coming and inspiring artists, that I highly respect their craft and what they do. But I know that one of the reasons why they strive so hard to get into the music industry and pursue that passion that they have embedded within, is because they really do have difficulty with society accepting them. Society is always rejecting them and disrespecting them. And at the same token, the only thing that they have left is the music to embrace. It is the music that allows them not to be erased. They have so many things that they have to offer, and the magic that they possess as far as the quality of music that they put out there, I feel sometimes they take away from the nature of their talent because they have to do what the industry dictates for them to do as well. And I think one of the things that I wanted to express is that hip hop doesn't have to be the stop where they have to transition into this vicious, callous, demeaning, negative, relentless person. But if they have to become that person, I feel like it's their obligation to communicate, hey, I'm doing this for a living. I'm doing this because this is a business. And this is not the true image of who I am and what I genuinely represent. That black males are not aggressive and angry and tormented individuals. That they're human beings that have been wiped out of functioning society because they're being discriminated against their past, and that this is an opportunity, another venue that they have an opportunity to manifest and be productive and create jobs and sustain themselves. Do you not feel like brothers in the industry are being looked at as disgruntled, hostile, relentless? Because when a lot of people in the industry say, yo, I'm speaking from where I come from. I'm speaking about my life. I'm speaking about this. But at the same time, you're looking to get out of that life. You're looking to get out of that struggle.
Absolutely. Yeah, when you in the industry, you are looking to get out of that struggle, And the thing about it is, what a lot of consumers don't fail to realize is, or what they do fail to realize is, these artists out here, while you're looking at them, you're like, damn, I would love to be him. That artist is still trying to be the person that they wanted to be. So it's a psychological struggle because you're looking at all their money and they're creating this mirage for you to see. But a lot of those artists are very depressed. And that's why they go to getting drug overdoses. Look at Kurt Cobain from the legendary Nirvana. You know what I'm saying? Like, he couldn't take it no more, man. And he overdosed. You know what I'm saying? And you hear a lot of stories. I mean, ever since David Ruffin and the Temptations, man. Like, people they get into the drugs and it definitely hinders like a rap career. And what a lot of these artists got to do is not only if you're having a problem looking for a job, well, the problem is, I'll tell you straight up, what people need to do, they need to go out here and they got to be more productive. That's all it is. You know what I'm saying? Don't take no for an answer, because I've always been a firm believer that if you're the type of person to knock on the door and somebody's home, eventually they gonna answer that door. Keep on knocking. Keep on knocking, keep on going forward. But what I'm saying? Don't look back. A lot of people let their past hold them back. A lot of people, they want to talk about stuff that happened like 10 years ago. And here you are having a conversation with this person, he crying about something, or she crying about something from like 10 years ago. The thing about it is, see, if you can't get past your past, then how can you pass to your present? How?
But that's the
Where's,
thing.
where's the future in that? There's nothing because that past right there, you can't get past that.
And I have friends, acquaintances that have been able to overcome being discriminated against from past convictions, but they had to groom themselves, just like what you're saying. In a sense, they have to not live in their past. They had to go out there and make a difference because they saw themselves having a better life, and but you have to groom yourself. You have to want to make a difference, want to change. You're not limited unless you want to remain limited. So I do agree in that aspect as far as them not living in their past and wanting to make a significant change. But is it that brothers need direction? Do they need direction? And this discussion is, I'm really focusing on the men, because I feel as though the men really get hit very hard as far as where are they at. I think social media doesn't give a fair image or reflect the true identities of the African American males in many different arenas that are out there. I just feel as though I know that there are women too that are being held back from employment as well. But we have to leverage this thing out. What resources do we need to have out there to encourage brothers? I mean, because at the end of the day, it's their self-motivation. It's their self-fulfilling prophecies that's going to be the guide or the gauge to get them to where they need to be. But they have to really be more informed and educate themselves on what they can do, knowing that they have a previous conviction or a record that may have, hinder their chances of getting a job.
You're right. I mean, direction and guidance. That's something that a lot of brothers need out in the community. You know what I'm saying? And think about it. A lot of brothers, you know what I'm saying, their fathers wasn't around. A lot of brothers, their mother wasn't around. A lot of brothers, their parents died. A lot of brothers, their parents was around, but while they was busy working, you know what I'm saying, they was getting their guidance and direction from hip-hop. And a lot of the hip-hop, of course, back in the 90s, as you remember, it was a lot of gangster rap out. It was a lot of, it was a lot of different types of music, and definitely I would say that hip-hop had that much of an impact on individuals that, depending on the type of hip-hop you listened to in the mid-90s, you can pretty much tell a cat that listened to that type of music and really got into that type of vibe and was about that type of life back then, because it shows in that everyday, the everyday life, the everyday way, like, they'll just in how they talk, how they, how all of that, you'll just be able to know that.
Unbelievable.
But yes, direction, guidance. I think that a lot of people lack that, and because we don't have that, and the number one thing is unity. We've been saying it for a million years. It's the one thing that people constantly say over and over again, but we not listening. We hear it, but we not listening. Because that unity portion, you know what I mean? A lot of brothers and sisters could be given, and opening up the floodgates, you know what I'm saying, for a lot of brothers and sisters to get jobs as well. Other nationalities do.
The nationality has a significant role in this, and I think it's very discouraging. I actually have a problem with the word black, because I feel as though it defines a person or a being that doesn't exist. I feel as though we have an ethnicity. We're descendants of African indigenous people, and that word black just categorizes us and demeans us, but we embrace it because we've been conditioned, and this is what we are accustomed to seeing on a regular basis. But the Bureau of Statistics most recent update regarding the jobless rate amongst the whites is 6.6%, and amongst the blacks is 12.6%. So it's just a constant 2% or 2.2 times that black individuals are more likely to be unemployed than a white counterpart. And the widest gap can increase up to 10% even. But this has been consistent for over the last 40 years. And I think that's really alarming if you start to really magnify the situation of the unemployment rate regarding the black community. And one of the most significant part of that equation is the head of the household, which would be the black male. In so many instances, we're being discriminated against, but one of the most vital pieces of this equation is that a lot of brothers need a job. They have to have a job, because if they don't have a job, they're going to go out there and rob, or they're going to go out there and mob with gangs. They're not going to be able to sustain themselves or have an opportunity to have justification of their income, which is going to put them right back in a situation of why they're in this predicament in the first place, not being able to get a job due to a record. And it's a vicious cycle, because we already know that this is something that's being manifested deliberately. And we know that there are resources and institutions that are naturally in place to just funnel us in those directions anyway, based on the poverty levels that may be endured in urban communities, and the lack of educational resources constantly being cut. All these things are factors that give us the outcome of why a lot of our brothers or sisters are employed and can't make it to the next level. What's your take on that?
Well, we can make it to the next level because we can do anything. It's a tough thing that people have to overcome, but I think that anybody can overcome any type of obstacle as long as they know how to overcome themselves. You know, and a lot of times, like, you know, in situations like this one right here, which is the delicate situation for the African American male, you think to yourself, like, yo, you know, love is stronger than pride. A lot of times we don't want to take a step back, but taking a step back, sometimes you can take like 2 steps forward. And one of the biggest things that African American males can also, you know, try to capitalize off of is, you know, create businesses, man. You know, like I said, you know, in the last thing I said, you know, a lot of other nationalities is doing it. You know, you can give your fellow brother or sister a job. You know what I mean? Now, don't get me wrong. We live in a world with all types of people. You know what I'm saying? And there's all people are gonna come from every which direction. You know what I'm saying? And that one person, it doesn't matter what color they are, can detrimentally take your business to the next level. But I'll be honest with you. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of people out here that need work. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like the only way that African Americans can really do it at this point is they're going to have to study what a lot of the older blacks have done in the generations, and what they're going to have to do is they're going to have to set standards and raise it up a bar and get back into trades, get back into being into this American public and being people that are, you know, that can definitely produce numbers and be able to. We need to compete. You know, I think our competitive nature is down because there's a lot of distractions in our community. There's drugs, there's prostitution, there's a lot of distractions, because that's all it is. You know, it's put out there.
But drugs.
I'm saying because the African American, the Asiatic man is too strong that you can't. Once the Asiatic man is at 100%. There's nothing you can do to take them off balance. You know what I'm saying? So what there is out here is a lot of distractions, and cats out here just need to know, man. Just don't be distracted, man. You know what I mean?
Well,
treat it like a channel you don't want to watch, man. Don't be distracted. Keep your mind strong. You know, eat vegetables. vitamins and minerals, you know. Be prepared, man. Be militant, man. Be a militant-minded person. In this world and in this life, your number one weapon in war is your mind, man.
Yeah, and that I can concur. The number one weapon is your mind. And I mean, yeah, in the community, in some aspects, there's a lot of distractions. I mean, prostitution, getting caught up with the drug game, whatnot. But that's the lifestyle that you become accustomed to. If you can't get out that hole, you are a product of your environment. And along with being that product of environment comes along with the behavior.
Yeah, but this is the environment. You got to remember, this is an environment that, you know, that America created. And you got to remember, every environment is created for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
Every cause has an effect.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Mm-hmm.
Before it happened, someone knew the before and after. Think about it.
Absolutely.
When they created
absolutely.
When they created
now we building. Now we building. Yeah.
When they created Road Game, right? They created Road Game, and in turn, what they did was they did tests because they wanted to know what was going to happen before and what was going to happen after.
Absolutely.
Because you can't put a product on the market that you don't know what the after effect is going to be. Check this out. You take something like, we were talking about the Marcy Projects earlier. I'll put out there Fort Greene, right?
Yes.
Fort Greene Projects, BK, Brooklyn, right?
Right.
Before they was placed in Brooklyn, what happened was somebody said, okay, we're going to put these projects in the middle of Brooklyn. They knew what was going to happen. They knew that there was going to be drugs. They knew that there was going to be guns. They said, you know what, why not? We're going to place these projects here because you know why? The black man is too strong that we don't want to deal with them, so let's just let them kill each other.
Absolutely.
Let's keep our people as far away as possible from that. Because while they're killing each other, we don't want our people to get wrapped up in that.
Right.
So now while those projects is being built, that's successful. I see a lot of people being killed. Let's build some more. Let's build some more. Let's build some more. Let's build some more. We'll say, look, yeah, we're giving you an opportunity. Let me tell you something. Anytime somebody's trying to set you up, they always going to try and put wool over your eyes.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Anytime you're about to be set up, nobody's not just going to come up to you and be like, hey, what's going on, man? My name's Ox. Nice to meet you. I'm here to set you up. Nah. So what people have to do, you know, because I got to get off the phone lines, and it's been a pleasure being on the show. But I'm going to tell you straight up, people have to open their eyes, but most importantly, open your third eye, which is your mind. And remember, always live life with that energy. You get it? Slow it down. Your inner G, all right?
Your inner G. Well, Ox the Mogul, I do appreciate you for, calling in and being part of the discussion with Ms. Jenkins this evening. Thanks so much, and I look forward to you coming back. Will you come back?
Absolutely. I'll always come back. I want to thank you very much for having me.
Well, definitely an interesting topic, and glad we could be partners on this. So thanks for coming on, and you have a good one.
You too.
All right, Ox.